Hello, everyone. This is Renee Rentmeester. I'm the creator and executive producer of the Cooking Without Looking TV show and podcast. And today we're here with Jordan Thomas of Delray Beach, Florida. Jordan, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So, tell us a little bit about yourself and your blindness journey.
So I am. I currently. It's been a long journey. So I'm originally from Pennsylvania. Our family owned and operated restaurants back in Pennsylvania. I was always in the restaurant business. Aunts, uncles, best friends, stuff like that. But believe it or not, I actually never intended originally to open a restaurant or get into that. I was actually a firefighter up until about 20.
That's different.
Yeah. So I was up until about 2013. So I had lost my sight in 2013. I had large non-Hodgkin's B-cell lymphoma. And it crushed my optic nerve and left me blind. Since then, I kind of went, obviously the firefighting was out of the question, and I just kind of looked back at what I kind of enjoyed the most, and it seemed that, when I was growing up through high school, college, stuff like that, I was always in the restaurant, and I kind of memorized how to do everything where I wouldn't have to read it or anything. So I always used to make this joke that I could make these pizzas blind, or I could cook blind. What happened was so what had happened was really neat. I decided to, Pennsylvania has this, unique style of pizza. It's a lot of people have never heard of it. It's called Old Forge style pizza. And what that is it's made in a rectangle cast iron pan. It's a square pizza. It's not your your Sicilian or your Detroit style. It is it's a light, airy crust. It is plum tomato sauce. And it's got a blend of cheeses, no mozzarella, and it's got its own lingo. So there are no slices; they call them cuts. There are no pies; they call them trays. And it's just originated from Old Fort, Pennsylvania, small little town, about 4,500 people, and I remember making that pizza my whole life. I think I may have probably made my first one in the restaurant, maybe being 12 years old. And we decided that I wanted to do something. After losing my sight, I wanted to do something unique. I wanted to do something different, and I wanted to do something to be remembered. So I decided to pack up. Me and my wife, we had packed up, and I have moved from Pennsylvania to Delray Beach. And since then, we opened this restaurant, and it's called the Twisted Tomato. And it's awesome.
Jordan,
every day is.
Jordan, tell me, first of all, tell me the process that you had to go through to own this restaurant, especially since you were blind.
So I had to secure, we started this. I've been in Florida a total of 4 years. I just opened this past April. It took me about 3 years to get it up and going. The obstacles, just the safety in the kitchen, bringing vocational specialists in to make sure it was safe. Getting the training that I needed to, so I wouldn't get hurt, memorizing the layout of the kitchen, where everything was, being able to function in the kitchen in a smooth flow, so that when it got busy, it was very difficult. There were times that I wanted to give up, I think what had saved me was the support, obviously, of my family. But when I had started to build this restaurant, I'll never forget it. One day, I get a call from my mom, and my mom says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Mom, I'm at the restaurant. I'm trying to get this place open." And she said, "Well, how's it going?" And I said, "Mom," I said, "you know how it's going." I said, "It's a nightmare." I said, I don't think we're ever going to open." She said, she said, "You'll get there. You'll get there." And she said, if you only just had, us there. And I said, "Yeah, Mom." I said, "But that's not going to work. You and Daddy and everyone, you guys are in Pennsylvania." And she said, "Come to the front door." And I opened the front door, and my mom and my dad were there with their car and
Oh
a
my
U-Haul trailer.
gosh.
And they had found a place in Delray, and they surprised me, and they moved here. And on top of that, my wife's parents, they also moved here, and
Wow.
they helped me. And without them, we wouldn't be where we are. But they came in. My dad, every morning, my dad stretches the dough with me. My dad does the pizza sauce with me. My dad works with me side by side. He works the pizza oven as I make the pizza. My wife works the front. She works the register. She does the bills, the hiring, stuff like that. My father-in-law does the financing and helps host. My mother-in-law does the running around and the errands. I have a teenage daughter. She's 16. She works after school. The whole family's here.
This is a family restaurant, isn't it? My gosh. And just so that our listeners understand, how much do you have any site left whatsoever?
So I have, I can see light and darkness. That's about it. So I can actually, if you can imagine, I can tell when pretty much the sun's up or the sun is down. I don't have any definition. I don't have any color. I can't see far distances. What I have is, if it is light out, and I can see some movement in front of me. If someone was to walk past, I can tell. Can't tell you who it is, but I can tell you something was in front of me.
Now, was this restaurant any part? I know that there is a special program for people who want to own restaurants, and I think it might be just for the government. I believe it starts with Randolph. Were there any special programs through the Florida Division of Blind Services?
No, we had I had looked into trying to do something like that, but there again, there was so many people that were saying they're getting these grants, you're wasting your time. There's a lot of them are scams. Don't give them your personal information. And I tried, and I kind of, at the end, I would love to have one of them help me, but I just we did it ourselves. My wife, my parents, her parents. My dad did the. We went to restaurant auctions. We purchased equipment. We bought boots. My mom and my wife decorated and painted. My dad did the construction on the place. We did it ourselves.
Do you have any, have you hired any people who are blind or visually impaired?
I have. So I have Drew, who comes in on Fridays. He works for me on Fridays, and we just actually hired a second woman. Her name is Wanda. She just started this past Wednesday. They're my very first two that are blind. And like I said, I would like to give the opportunity to as many as possible. I always tell the caseworkers and specialists who come in, listen, if you have somebody, I know what it feels like to not be able to work, to not feel like you're feel like you're helpless. And everybody wants to have a purpose, and I'm all about it. I make sure that I get involved in as many fundraisers, as many things as I can, whether it's the blindness and digital services, whether it's Lighthouse, whether it's we host luncheons for the Braille Club, the blind dogs. I always try to tell my story to as many people as I can, because I feel like there's so many people out there who have either been born blind or lost their sight blind, who feel like they're looking for a purpose, and I'm looking to give them one.
Well, that's tremendous, Jordan. That's really wonderful. What are some of the great things about owning your own business, and what are some of the days when you just want to go back to firefighting?
So the great thing, I think the great thing about owning the business is that the people that you meet is amazing. Every day somebody comes in. The news had come in and done this story on me, and we a portion of our proceeds. So every tray of pizza that we sell, we take $1 from every tray, and 50 cents go to the American Foundation for the Blind, and 50 cents go to the Lymphoma and Leukemia Society. And that somehow had made its way to WPTV, and they had done this story. And since then, life has been, it's been crazy. I've met so many people that have come in, that have driven 3 hours, 4 hours just to show support and get a tray of pizza. I've had people from Orlando. I've had people from Daytona.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's so cool to own your own business, to meet them and to talk to the customers and to interact with them and get their honest opinion. And I always tell them, listen, this pizza is not for everyone. If you do not like this pizza, you're not going to hurt my feelings. There are New Yorkers who like New York style pizza. There's people from New Haven. They like New Haven style pizza. This is a different style of pizza. You're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't like it. It's not for everybody, but I do want to hear your feedback. I want to know if you like it or you don't. As far as the food, I want to hear the same thing about the food. I want to know how you feel about it. What could we do? How could we change it? What could we add? How can we make your experience better?
What are some of the things that people tell you, especially we've got the New Yorkers coming in with their own style of pizza? What are some of the comments that sort of stick out in your mind?
The top comment has to be, nope, not trying it, don't care, not biting it. Pizza's round, it's not square, don't want it.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? That is funny. Do you change their minds? Do they end up trying it and changing their minds?
Yeah, I've had a lot of New Yorkers who have come in and actually have liked it. Then I have the New Yorkers that are like, no, there's no mozzarella, it's not round, no, I don't want it, I'm never coming back. It's funny. It's really funny.
What kind of cheese do you use if you don't use mozzarella?
So we use like a blend of different cheeses. We have a brick cheese, which a lot of people have never heard of it. I say it to a lot, and they're like, "What is that?" It comes out of Wisconsin. It's just a different blend of cheese. People
Well, I am from Wisconsin. Maybe try me. I'm from Green Bay.
So it's called brick cheese.
Is it sort of like a white cheese? Is it like
it's a lighter
cheese?
I would kind of say maybe like a Cooper Sharp.
That I've never heard of, but
yeah,
I
it's
love
different.
cheese.
Yeah.
But so how do you get the people who don't want to try a square pizza? Now, is a crust thicker?
The crust is thicker than a round, but it is thinner than a Sicilian.
Okay, and how is the sauce different?
The sauce is where your round pizza is kind of like a thinner, sweeter type of sauce, you would say. This is like a plump, more like a plump tomato, more thicker tomato sauce, where as your round pizza is more like, I consider like your round pizza is more like a, can't really explain it. It's not, it's very thin, a very thin sauce, where this is a very thick sauce.
Do you guys make your own sauce?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And do you make your own, do you have your own recipe for the crust?
Yeah, so we do the white, our double crusted white we do, and we do our regular standard shell. We do a round pizza, just for those round people that we do a 12-inch round pizza. We have it on the menu just so I don't get yelled at for not having an option, but
Just
we
to
do carry
appease
it as
those
well.
people.
Yep.
Well, what are some of the toppings you put on?
I'm sorry?
What are some of the toppings you put on?
So we use pepperoni. We use ground sausage. We have cherry peppers. We have sweet peppers. We use sliced black olives, chopped garlic. We have broccoli, tomatoes.
Ooh, broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli is actually our #1 top seller. That the broccoli is, we do what's called an open white pizza, and we do a double crusted broccoli pizza. So this is a
Ooh.
really unique pizza.
That
I'd
sounds
love
like
to
a
tell
meal.
you actually. So yeah, so if you can imagine, it's a square pizza, it's a fresh dough.
Mhm.
And what we do is we take one of those squares, and it's got chopped seasoned broccoli. We season the broccoli, we steam the broccoli, we chop it, and then we mix that in with the cheeses, and we put that across the pizza, and then we put more cheese on top, and then we fold that in half, so it's double. It's about 2 inches thick. It's called a double crusted white with broccoli. So if you can imagine, the pizza sits about 2.5 to 3 inches high with broccoli and cheese. It's got crust on the bottom and crust on the top. And it's our #1 seller. People go nuts for it.
That sounds amazing. That sounds really good. And I love broccoli. And it sounds like you have like a white sauce. Is it like a bechamel sauce on it?
Yeah, so it's not a red, it's a white. Yes. Yep.
So, you know what? Sometimes I have a hard time getting people to like give their recipes, but it sounds like you're right on the track. So, Jordan, tell us, give us a recipe that you'd like to share.
So I have so many. So I love these people that are. I mean, here's the thing. I go through this too. Like, people don't like to share recipes in Florida, where I come from. In Pennsylvania, people share everything. So if you can imagine the pizza places in Old Forge, when you drive down Main Street in Old Forge, on every corner, left and right, is a pizza place. So you have our Carol and Janelle's Pizza on the right side. Across the street, say, is a Ravello's Pizza, it's called. Then you have Cafe Rinaldi's. You have Cusimano's. You have from there, you have Mary Lou's Pizza. You have Salerno's. You have Anthony's. You have all these family-run pizza places, but they're not secretive. The part of the crazy part down here is, if tonight I got busy and say I ran out of tomatoes, and I walked over to the restaurant across the street and I said, "Hey, I'm out of tomatoes. Can I borrow a couple tomatoes to get through tonight?" They'd say, "Get the heck out of my kitchen right now."
Oh, no, no.
Back in Pennsylvania, if I called the restaurant across the street, I ran out of sugar, they would run it over. They're all connected. If I ran out of cheese, dough, tomatoes, seasonings, all these restaurants, even though they are competitors, are they're an own circle. They help each other out. They share recipes with each other. They try to better each other. Old Forge is where down here, I feel like everybody's so competitive where they don't want to share their recipes. But I'm not like that. I love to share recipes.
Well, you know, after living 37 years in Miami, I totally get what you're saying. I totally understand it. And I know that you are not exaggerating.
Yeah.
Well, so what recipe would you, it doesn't have to be your pizza recipe. It can be any recipe. And you are recipe of the day to day on our Cooking Without Looking channel and website. What recipe would you like to share?
So I sent you the buffalo chicken casserole, which is one of my personal favorites.
Sounds
But
amazing.
then I also, it is, and I also do a meatball that's a little different than how they make theirs down here. I could share that with you. I think it's really different. I'd love to tell you guys that one. It's one of my top.
Let's go for the meatball.
So the meatball is it's going to be it's 1 pound of ground beef, and you take that and you put that in your large mixing bowl, and you take a 1/2 pound of sweet Italian ground sausage. So it's going to be 1 full pound of ground beef and a 1/2 pound of ground sweet sausage. And then what you do is you get it's going to be 2 large handfuls of grated Pecorino Romano cheese that goes over the top of that. And then it's going to be 3 cloves of chopped garlic. Some people buy the garlic minced in the jar already. I like to just get 3 nice sized cloves and chop them. That goes over the top of that as well. Now, as you're doing that, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. As that starts, what I do is I take 6 loaves of sliced white bread, and I put that in a large bowl to the side, and I soak those in whole milk, and I let those sit there while I'm adding the ingredients to the mix of the meatballs. So after you add the garlic, I take a pause from there. I soak these 6 slices of white sliced bread in the bowl. Just let them sit with the whole milk on them. Let them get mushy and just sit there. And then I get a 1/2 tablespoon of black pepper, a full tablespoon of salt, and then just a handful of chopped parsley. You can use the jarred. I like to use the fresh parsley. It looks a little bit better. What I do from there is I crack 2 eggs over the top of the meat, and then I take those slices of bread and I pull them apart and make them into like little balls almost, and I put those over the top of the pile of meat in that bowl. I break all of them apart, put it all over the top, and then the leftover milk I pour over the top of that. And then what I do is I work that all together, mix that really thoroughly all the way through. It's going to be really, really mushy. Once I have that all the way, mixed thoroughly, I start adding my Italian style breadcrumbs. I add those Italian style breadcrumbs until it stops being as mushy. Start to get them where you could start forming the ball. You'll know as you're working it out with the texture of them exactly when they're ready to form that ball. And then what I like to do, I like to make them larger. I get my sheet pan. Once I start rolling them, I like to do about 3-ounce balls. I like them a little bit bigger. And I preheat the oven, obviously, 350 degrees. And I roll those balls out. Depending on how big you make them, some people like them smaller, some people like the larger. Yeah, I should get a full sheet out of them. Sometimes you make them smaller, a sheet and a half. And then what I do is I put them in the oven on 350. Now, if you're going to use them just as meatballs, because some people like to turn them into Swedish meatballs. Some people like to just use them as some people like them as meatballs and ricotta over a red sauce, or if you're going to add them to your homemade spaghetti sauce. So if you're going to add them to your sauce, I recommend only cooking them on 350 for about 15 minutes, just till they look brown. And then I like to let them cook the rest of the way in the sauce, only because it gives it a great flavor. If you're going to use them for something else, I rotate them after 15 minutes, cook them for about anywhere from 35 to 40 minutes until they're golden brown. It's a really different meatball. A lot of people use all beef. The sausage gives it like a really different taste with the pepperino romano. And that bread that a lot of people look at me like I'm really weird. That bread, it gives it like a center almost, where when you bite into it, it's like it's a very distinct, different taste.
Well, you know what? Apparently we're on the same wavelength, because I do put the Italian sausage in my meatballs as well, but yours sound so good. Oh my gosh. Thank God we're at lunchtime, because like your podcast is like an appetizer just listening to it.
That's great.
So, Jordan, it sounds like a wonderful, wonderful business you've built along with your family. And, being blind, that's not an easy thing to do necessarily. It's not an easy thing to do for anyone, actually, but you've got some extra challenges. What kind of advice do you have for anyone who might want to do a similar thing?
I get asked this question a lot, and I don't mind answering it, because I feel like every time I talk to someone, they're like, "What would you say to some?" Go for it. Go for it. I don't like the "you can't do this, you can't do that." We can do anything that anybody else can do, and I do it every single day, and I prove people wrong every single day, and so can you, and so can they, and so can anybody else who wants to do anything that they wanted to do. They can, with the right support group and the right mentality and the motivation, they could do anything that they wanted to do. And if they need help doing it, call me and I'll help them.
Well, on that note, Jordan, give us again the name of your restaurant, the address, how they can get a hold of you, and your phone number, and your email too, if you want, whatever you'd like. Just
Sure. So the name of the restaurant is the Twisted Tomato Old Ford Style Pizza, and that's in Delray Beach, Florida, 33446. And we're open. We're closed Sunday and Monday. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, from 9 until 9 during the week. And from 11 until 9 during the week, and from 11 until 10 on the weekends. And our phone number here is 561-808-8120. And you can also email me. My email is Thomas, THOMAS, .Jordan, JORDAN, 226@gmail.com.
And once again, that's the Twisted Tomato in Delray Beach, Florida. Jordan, thank you so very much for being on our show, our podcast, and we'd love to have you on our show sometime.
Absolutely. I would love that.
And again, everyone, this is Renee Rentmeester. I've been with Jordan Thomas. He's the owner of the Twisted Tomato in Delray Beach. I'm the creator, executive producer of the Cooking Without Looking TV show and podcast. And our website is www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com. If you want to donate to our foundation, there's a link right at the top of our website. And we also have a YouTube channel. And if you want to hear Jordan all over again, you can go to our Cooking Without Looking YouTube channel. And Jordan, once again, thank you so much for helping us change the way we see blindness. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much.